Good morning, channel friends.
Hello.
First video of the year.
Off to a good start.
I'll do it again. Good morning, channel friends. First video of the year. We are proposing a console that's seen quite a few horrors in its lifetime. I got in touch with my expert friend, Barbara, and she told me that it dates back to the Umbertine period, up until the 1800s, early 1900s, 1910. I know this console was bought after the 1850s, around 1850 to 60, because I know who bought it. This console was part of my house. When I opened this part of the house, I was pulling my hair out due to its disrepair. Unfortunately, it was long abandoned and this console was completely gnawed by mice. You see, when viewing something finished, we always build castles in the air. Sometimes you have to be brave, because to work on a piece in such a state, you need courage. No one wanted to restore it, but my friend Roberto helped me, from a woodworking perspective, to fix it. The marble was what made me decide to save it because it was a lovely shaped marble, all perfect, a few scratches here and there, of course, but it's beautiful. So I wanted to talk to Roberto and ask him if he could at least fix it structurally for me. It's all good. He rebuilt a piece here that the mice had chewed up. This part was all scratched by the mice's teeth. The bit underneath, the knob here was completely gone. In fact, the whole thing was on the floor and by some miracle, the marble wasn't broken. So, we're starting 2025 with a real piece of history. It would have been easier to throw it away. Yes, I could probably have used the marble for something else. But if we all threw away pieces of the past, maybe there wouldn't be a future where we could talk about the past. So I'm starting 2025 with a key piece that we've saved. Important for my home. Franco, show the details and let's get started. Let's start. To clean the surface thoroughly because you can still see the mouse teeth marks, even back here. Look here, the mouse teeth have really ruined it, and woodworms too. Who would have had the courage to save it? So, I'll use a small brush to get into the carvings and a soft cloth. Obviously, you shouldn't soak it with water because we've treated it for woodworm, they are gone, but it still has lots of holes, so you absolutely need to avoid letting water get inside. As usual, we clean the surface with our bar, so we use some baking soda and some ammonia. Let's say that, as always, the proportions are 4 to 5 tablespoons of baking soda, a glass of ammonia. Let's say I'm very much guided by feeling. Stir. The water needs to be hot. Mind you, hot water degreases much better and really cuts down on how often you need to do our bar. I've got my little brush, but I wring it out and do this. I dry it even after I've cleaned it because I absolutely mustn't leave any water on the surface, so be very careful, especially with pieces like this that might have veneer, because on this particular piece, here it isn't solid wood, but definitely veneer. Dry it thoroughly, and we also use a cloth to help with the smooth parts, so you go over it carefully with the cloth. Use the brush to get into the crevices properly, and then immediately remove the excess with the cloth. In this case, our bar isn't a deep clean, it's more of a purification. However, you need to be careful with all the parts that have been touched by the mice. Who knows why, when the year starts I always want blue, sparkling, but I can't put on gold and I don't even want to because it doesn't go with this marble. But I envisioned it in a certain way. Then, talking with Emma, we said, why do we have to rack our brains to always do something different when that thing fits perfectly on this piece? That's true, it's right. Then Franco said that with all these 50 to 60 tutorials a year, plus the lives, plus the reels, it's tough to always come up with different, new ideas. But when the idea is new, when exaggeration isn't needed, why rack your brains to do something that might objectively look bad? So, we're going for a shade I like for the first video of the year, a sunset blue. It works because I would have gone for pepper blue or Nuit Parisian, but instead, I've convinced myself to go with sunset blue. I'm going to tone it down a bit with some London Fumé because I want it slightly more muted, less blue and more dusty. So, we add enough to definitely do at least one coat, and we also add some texture powder because it's important on a base like this to put a bit of Magic Star powder. The mice have done their job well, and I want to fill in some of the little holes in some spots. So, I add about 2 tablespoons of London Fumé to the sunset blue, stir it, see if I like it, if it's enough, otherwise, I'll add more grey. I'm doing this because I want to tone down the sunset, make it seem like a less bright colour, and you can see the difference is immediately substantial but without losing its essence. If I had added black, it would have cooled and darkened it too much, but by adding grey, the difference is subtle, not too strong, but we've slightly toned down the brightness of the sunset blue by adding grey, you see. But I'd like to add just a drop more, also because then you, Emma, will add the Magic Star powder, which will obviously lighten it a bit. So, let's take it step by step. Let's give it a good stir, see if we like it. I absolutely mustn't lose the blue tone, also because it needs to stand out from the marble, which is grey with black veins. But here we go, look at the difference now. You see how it's still the sunset tone, but more muted, less bright. Right, let's add just enough powder, just what we need to make it a tad more mousse-like. A covering mousse. This step will also help us cover well, probably with 1 coat and a few touch-ups, without needing to apply 2 coats. We'll use pointed brushes because we need to get right into all the nooks and crannies of the console, dabbing as we go. If we're good, 1 coat with a few touch-ups and we're okay. Also, sunset blue is one of the magic paint colours that covers the most. I'll tell you my top 3, sunset blue, royal green and vin brule. They are colours that never let you down. They cover so much.
I'd add a pepper blue.
Well, yes, but it's dark, so maybe they expect it. But paradoxically, pepper blue covers even more than black. So, if you want to spend even less than you thought, these 4 colours will save you loads of cans, and they're beautiful too. Right, lovely. Here, as you can see, it's not particularly stiff, but it's delicately, let's say, more like custard cream. Can you see it? It holds its shape a little better. It means that when you spread it, it covers even more, fills in any little holes, and you can, let's say, apply a bit of pressure to make sure it goes well into the holes, and you're good. Let's put the other colours away, Emma, so we can work well, comfortably and neatly. And off we go. We start by dabbing the colour all over the entire surface. If you look closely at the coverage right now, you'll see that 1 coat is more than enough. We started with the console legs up, of course. We'll do a full coat everywhere with the legs up. Then we'll flip it over straight away because once you do it, you'll see the flaws you didn't notice when it was legs up. So it's always important, whether it's chairs, consoles, or any surfaces with legs, to start applying with the furniture legs up. With a pointed brush or a flat-tipped brush, we're going to do something I really love. Let's highlight a few parts of this console before we do yet another decoration. I use dark sand to lighten this little edge here with this light color. The edge of the flower and the flower. Then we'll also do the acanthus leaves and this border. It's something I want to apply only to these parts because I want the blue to remain very striking. I don't want it to be dulled by too much white. So it helps me lighten up. A small brush, you decide whether pointy or flat. Then you gently go over the decorations you want to highlight and color them. This is one of those things I really love because it gives me the time to savor the restyling and enjoy myself, relax. So put on some background music, sit down and enjoy this, and of course, do it again. Emma does it on her side too before the next decoration. Once we've done this step, where we highlight certain areas, we do an antiquing wash. This is to give depth to different parts of the furniture. But that's not all, because there are still more surprises to come. I do the wash using London Fumé because I want a color that's already there. It's already present in the sunset blue, the base color, but lightened. I'm not adding any more colors. It will always be in cool tones, and this wash will be very diluted because I want it to stain very little. And it will be almost a light darkening dusting to give just a hint of depth, a touch of mystery. You don't need too much of it. In fact, as you can see, I've been quite generous with the water because I don't want to risk the color I'm applying darkening too much the colors I've already created. I keep 2 cloths nearby, one wet and one dry, for this very reason, because I absolutely want to calibrate how much to remove, how much to lighten the color, right away, as soon as I paint. Emma, could you please pass me a king brush as well? So I can be even quicker in applying and smoother. Perfect. Thank you. As you can see, I've got a pointed brush, a king brush, to work well even on the wider parts and to speed things up. I load a bit, but the light color is so liquid that the antiquing effect I'm going to give will be very minimal. Obviously, having diluted it so much, it drips a lot. So you have to be very, very quick. Today, I'll be using a damp microfiber cloth to remove more color. If I wanted to remove less, I would have used the microfiber cloth dry, but I keep it nearby. For the simple reason that every now and then you just want to gently dab a drop that's running down, and the dry cloth is enough, you don't necessarily need the wet one. I check behind. I stop at a section that starts here and goes up to here. Damp cloth. Go. Very quick. It shouldn't be a strenuous wash, just a light dusting to give a touch of three-dimensionality that might have been missing because it was all one uniform color. And now I go here. As you can see, there's a glaze left, but the base color is very striking. Remember one thing, if you want to be more confident with this technique because you might be just starting out, you can apply a coat of protective paint before doing the wash. The protective layer will allow you to better control the process because it makes the wash color slide more. It doesn't get quickly absorbed by the base, and you can remove it, giving you more time to think about the steps you're taking. But I assure you, if you dilute it as much as I have, well, you still have the assurance that it sticks because there's magic underneath. If you have a different paint, I can't guarantee it won't all come off, obviously, but we can still be sure that we have the time, right? To properly gauge the brushstroke, to really understand where to leave and where to remove. Look, it only took me a few moments. Here too, I'm going to lighten it a bit, not too much. I need to lighten the color in some areas, darken it in others, making everything much more dusty. Clearly, when it dries, the antiquing will be even more visible. Right now it's still slightly light, but when the color dries, it tends to darken gently. Let's move on. We've decided to lighten a bit more, to reduce the heaviness of the marble, which is quite significant, by turning this small edge, not the whole thing, not this part here, but this small edge, silver, and we're using our silver leaf. First, I apply Linfa, which is the glue that makes the leaf stick. I've already put it here in a little cup, and with a flat-tipped brush, I make sure to spread it well. Make sure to be precise because wherever you apply the Linfa, the leaf will stick, and if you're not precise, it will smudge. So when you want to create these very sharp, smooth, linear finishes, you need to have a bit of patience and be slow and precise. Look at how beautiful the MagicPaint silver leaf is. What do you notice? It doesn't slide off. It remains on the orange sheet due to the decal, a glue holding it. This is the gold, silver, or copper leaf. Notice it and its beautiful packaging. Remember, don't confuse it with others. It's unique. You can even cut it and manage it even better because this way you attach the strip and waste nothing. The beauty of the leaf with the decal is exactly this. You can shape it however you like. Do you want to just put a little strip to make a border? You can do it. Look here. You make sure it sticks well. Press it nicely into the hole, even where there's a tiny gap, even underneath, and voila. You waste nothing. In all the spots where the glue was applied, the silver leaf sticks. There's a little spot where it hasn't stuck properly, but don't worry, just take a small piece and put it back on. You remove the flaw right away. In this way, you completely minimize waste. Because if it doesn't fly away, you absolutely don't waste it and it doesn't go where it shouldn't. Look, I pressed down well with this little pad, precisely because it goes nicely into the crevices where I've applied the glue. And there you go. I'll then go on to massage it with an even softer brush than this one, but just to show you how easy it is for this leaf to stick. And it costs very little. It's a treat you need to indulge in. Here too. Let's continue. Let's make sure the sheet sticks well. We press down firmly to make sure it goes well into the tiny groove. Like this. There we go. Let's remove the excess. And there you go. Beautiful and precise. And the waste is really minimal. Emma applies wax over the entire colored area. I'll use Cigno Oro. Only on the silver part. Cigno Oro on the silver part. Emma, let's have a quick chat about it. People ask me how to wash the brushes that they use with Cigno Oro. How to wash them?
Since it is a solvent product, it cannot be cleaned with water.
You can't use water and soap. You need some alcohol.
Exactly. A little drop of denatured alcohol. 90 degrees alcohol, pink alcohol, the classic one. You dip it a little bit in there and you can easily clean the brush. I've got a tiny little brush because I'm going along the edge here. Obviously, I don't want to mess up the color. I just want to go over the silver. Why do I use Cigno Oro and not wax? Because the wax would make it slightly dull. Instead, when it dries, Cigno Oro leaves it very shiny, beautifully shiny and velvety. So, I spread it well over this little edge, and Emma applies the wax on the rest. On these surfaces, we should always use the crossed brush stroke or circular ones, because we've applied the textured powder as a base, so the surface is a bit more worn. And the first tutorial of 2025 is done. I'm very happy. Yes, I feel like we're always placing bulky things there lately, but it was so scenic. You did very well. Recently, we really enjoy decorating because we give you an idea of how a piece of furniture that was once a disaster can truly become really pleasant. We finished this wall about half an hour ago in a live session, so if you want to watch the live sessions in which questions are asked and answered in real time, you can tune in every Wednesday at 5 p.m. or Monday at 5 p.m. It has the English translation, and there you can discover some really lovely things. Here we've shown how a blue wall can turn brown in an hour, so you can create the perfect setting while having a great time in just one day. Now, if you want to buy all the products you've seen used in the makeover of this piece of furniture, make sure to visit the website www.elisiahome.com, the only Italian site that sells magic paint. Or if you want to visit a retailer, go to the site magicpaint.it, search by region, and you'll find the one closest to you. Just a reminder, Magic Paint isn't available on Amazon. Never. Right. True. Never. Need we say more?
You've said it all.
I really like this combination. I do love it. Well done. Emma studied it a bit. This whole combination. Goodbye.